All you have to do in order to become profitable is to pay attention to higher time frame candles. This video is going to be understanding how the higher time frame candle is created when you are trading on the 1 minute or the lower time frame. Because using this, you can find bias way more easily, and you can find kind of directional bias just by how the higher time frame candle is closing. Let's start off by lower time frame formation. This is a very basic idea, but we have to build the foundation before we go for the rest. So I'm going to mix in 1 and 2 together. This is the idea. Let me actually use up the path one so it's a little better. This is the idea of how a higher time frame candle looks on the lower time frame, right? Open, low, high, close. And I'm going to actually just draw that here. Open, low, high, and close. This is the basis of higher time frame candles, and this is basically what you would be looking for if you're on the lower time frame and you're looking to take entries, and if you're looking for bias. Now, how do we actually use this? I'm going to start off, let's go to 1 minute, and I'm going to turn this indicator on, named higher time frame candles, for it to draw higher time frame candles for me. Let's go back here, right, and start just zooming in here. We can see candles and how they form. Open, high, open, low, high, close. Open, high, low, close. Open, low, high, and then close. Using this idea, we can form better trading ideas. Now, how do we actually use this on higher time frame POIs? By higher time frame POIs, I literally only use this inside of FVGs. For example, here I caught this setup, and I also think I did catch a long on this wick as well. I'm going to break that down pretty soon, but I caught a long down here in this wick. How did I do so? Let's break this trade down, and let's break this ID down. If you go into 1 minute and just look at that, look at this price action here, we know we have a 4-hour gap between this high and between this low. New York opens, manipulates higher, distributes lower. On a higher time frame, if you zoom out, this move lower is just a manipulation to distribute higher. That is the whole basis of fractal power of trees, something I also teach privately. Now, here on the lower time frame, what this looks like is it looks like we are breaking out of this 4-hour gap and we're creating an inversion gap, which is not true, because the whole idea behind FVGs is that we can trade through them, but as long as we body close inside of it, we can still understand that that FVG is being respected. So if we go all the way down here and then we close inside on the 1 hour or on the 2 hour or any other higher time frame point, that still makes this gap valid. If you're in the 1 minute and you're scalping, you can see this happen all the time. We go below a gap, but then we close inside. That means we're respecting the gap. So one thing I can anticipate is that, okay, this candle opened, okay, obviously you need bias for this to work. I know we're bullish, and I know this move down is just a manipulation to continue higher. So I'll wait. This candle opens here, we trade lower. I'm gonna give a very random tip. The 30-minute mark of a candle is the highest probable timing for reversals. So the second half of a candle offers the best reversals. Just something to keep in mind. So we open here, we go all the way lower, and then we displace higher with this move. We also respect this whole order block level. Actually, this is the whole order block level. You can see we come into it and we respect it. And also we can pair that with this inversion that we have right here, which we can see we respect. And it's the same thing here, right? This candle opens, trades all the way down here, but eventually closes above. It's the same thing here, but on the higher time frame. So I look for a reversal, I catch a long here at the end of the day, and I'm expecting the next day to distribute higher. Why does this work? And what do I mean by higher time frame candles can make you profitable? Because if you don't use the higher time frame candle, all this looks like to you here is that we're going lower. But I see it differently. I see a possibility of this hourly candle closing bullishly inside of this gap. And when it does, I'm already up like 3 or 4 hour. And other than that, that means that the higher time frame is still bullish if we do get that close, and we are going to expand higher later on. That is essentially all that this means. So we cancel along here, which I did. We close inside here. We close inside that 4 hour gap, and then we continue higher. And we can see later on, this box, this POI, gets used again. Here we respected it, so we know that now this is a bullish gap. And let's say you were trading Asia, I wasn't, but this candle opens, creates a low, tapping into that POI, and then suddenly this place is higher. So we know we have opened, set a low, now move to set a high. We have this big displacement, this big gap, and then we take that higher. Same again later on, open, low. We open, and then we go lower, trading into our POI, and then after that we can target highs. This can be used with any higher time frame POI. So we have this gap right here. You can see there's a gap between this candle and this level here. We need to mark those out. This right here is a news candle. So open, low, high, close. But look at how the candle closed. We dip below all of these gaps, and then we trace back, and we're respecting them. So in theory, this right here would be a good place to look for longs, because we are respecting a higher time frame POI. There's also a gap between here. So if I were to delete these here, and if I were to draw a box between the high of this FVG here and the low of it down here, I'll actually zoom in to fix this. You can see between this wick and this wick is a 1 hour FVG, and if I were to mark this out here, you can see this candle opens. Here it's fine, it goes higher first, but our bias is bullish. We come back down here. Now we're looking for longs because we're also below this gap. We want to see if this higher time frame candle can close above this gap. Here, you could look for longs. Maybe we have this FVG right here. And now we're also above the gap. So this candle is going from bearish to bullish, and it continues higher and closes bullish. The open is here because it's above the open, so it's bullish. And then the price continues higher to our drawn liquidity. This is essentially how I use OHLC to form trade biases and trade, trade ideas. You can see this also on every single coin. And I like to use this on Solana. Actually, I have it here. This works also on Solana. So here we are on Solana. I'm going to get rid of this indicator for a moment. But this same idea can be seen anywhere. So I'm going to mark this here. This is also a level I called out before. I'm going to go into 3 hour. We can see on the 3 hour we have this big gap right here, which I called before. Let's go into 1 minute and see what the price action looks like inside of this gap as soon as we tap into it. So right here, this is the low. And I'm going to enable the hourly candles now. So open, low. We've opened, went lower into our POI. We can look for the displacement here. Here, we displace higher, creating this breaker structure here, this displacement above this order block level. Retrace, respect it. So what does the candle look like? Open, low, high, close. If you did not enter there, the next candle can offer you better entries, which is where I took my long. So open, low, I'll wait for a break above this order block level, and then I enter here and it continues higher. Now I caught this long not just by using this, but by also reading how the 1 hour candle is closing. If the 1 hour candle here looked something like this and gave me displacements higher, I would not be entering. But here we can see every Every candle after this printed bullishly. Now this one looks bearish on a higher time frame, but if you were on the lower time frame, you would notice it's just a little retracement to then continue higher and higher and higher. And we can see this later on once again. So we have a gap between here and this little high here. We open, we trade inside of it, we start displacing, and then we go long off that. Now later on it fails, but you can see the idea was right. The idea behind this was correct. Later on, I'm pretty sure you can also see this once again. I'm gonna get rid of all of these. And I don't remember in which FVG I used. Pretty sure it was this one, or on 2 hour, 3 hour. It was this one, the 3 hour. Yes, we had nothing. Yeah. Oh, sorry, it was this one on the 4 hour. Okay, so my bias is still bullish because we just saw the 4 hour. The 4 hour is completely bullish, right? The 4 hour is completely bullish. So this candle opens, goes a little higher because we're still retracing at its down move, continues lower inside here. Look at where it closes. Look at where the wick closes. The wick closes above the low. Now watching the next candle, do we get anything from it to enter? Open, low, high, still kind of weak, close. I don't get an entry here, but I do here. Now it does fail, but it does also give my TP level, which is just these two equal highs. I was not targeting the whole high. Open, low, high for tracement into these FVGs. I just used the 50% of this level, and I could be looking for longs. And then continuation higher. If you missed all those, you could have still found entries here. Open, low, high. This whole level is your order block. We have FVGs here. Use that for an entry. Just by reading how the higher time frame candles are being formed, we can find bias from a low, then study how the candle is being formed, take that higher. And I love using this in Solana because it just for some reason has an extremely high win rate, and sometimes it allows you to trade every single hour. So I'm trying to find more examples now. A few examples on the higher time frame are this one right here. We can see we're completely bullish. We tap inside of this gap. Later on, continue higher. This one right here. This one you could have been stopped out a few times, but the idea is right. This one right here, you would have gotten killed. But we can see by using a higher time frame POI, a higher time frame FVG, and a bullish environment, and how the candles work, you are able to find higher probable entries. And a lot of times when they do fail, let's say you got in long here, you can see it did go higher. So you could have looked for partials. You're not going to always get that perfect 10 million R trade, right? Here we can see also this candle closed above, this candle opened, low, high, close. I say this all the time. Now, if you don't like using the hourly and you want to do more intraday, you can apply the same concept to daily. You can be on a daily and look at where the higher time frame POIs are. For example, right now the daily we have this gap, and then we can go into 1 hour and look at how price is reacting to this level. Look at a 4 hour. The 4 hour we are closing above. So here you could look for longs in theory. And the 1 hour we close inside, but then these two candles are pushing up. So if you're trading on the 1 hour and also looking at the 4 hour, you might be like, what, we closed below the low? Yes, we did, but the 4 hour hasn't. The 4 hour has not closed. So this could continue higher, targeting these two equal highs most likely. Let's go into 1 minute now and see what we can see based on the 1 hour candle. So here we are trading into this 4 hour gap. This candle opens, instantly sets a low, sweeping previous hourly lows, and then continues to displace higher. And then here continues to displace higher. We have a little accumulation, manipulation, distribution, once again, next hourly candle, I want you to pay attention to this because this is fractal also. So I'm going to mark this 50 minutes FVG right here, and then let's go in the hourly. That's the FVG right there, correct? Open, the new hourly candle opens, trades into the 50-minute gap, and then sets this low, displaces. This is your order block, continuation higher. So this is completely fractal, and you can use every single time frame with this idea to find trades onto anywhere. I hope this video helped you. If it did, do join my Discord. I do have my own private mentorship, all that bullshit. Send me your money. I love taking people's money, and thank you.